What's up, folks? This is Addy Ads, and I want to check in with people about my incoming trip to Washington, D.C. to cover the truckers' convoys, as well as attend a conference. I'm going to be meeting up with Ryan Dawson of ANC Report, and I was planning on traveling to D.C. to the National Press Conference to attend let me pull it up here so people can see it. It's called Transcending the Israel Lobby at Home and Abroad, with uh, in conjunction with Washington Report on Middle East Affairs and IRMEP, the Institute for Research on Middle Eastern Policy, with the event being Friday all day on the 4th, and then they had like a gala party on the 3rd, which I wasn't going to go to the gala dinner because tickets were $300, but I did want to go to the conference to learn some stuff and cover that as press. And I did get a friend of mine who was able to procure a press pass for me for the event, but unfortunately, they changed the rules literally today, a couple hours ago, as a matter of fact, right around 2:30. Just before 2:30, we received an email that you need vaccination passports in order to attend both the conference and the gala dinner. And this is causing a bit of controversy and contention because there are people traveling from other states, from other countries to Washington, D.C. in the United States to attend either the conference, the gala dinner, or both. And now they changed the rules. Whereas before on the Eventbrite uh, ticket page, they declared that a PCR test was sufficient in order to gain access or entry into the building of the National Press Club until around 2:30 this afternoon, as I mentioned. So I did get a PCR test today for this specifically, but it appears I may not be allowed to go because I don't have my vaccination papers in order because I am not vaccinated. But that being said, if people do want to meet up with me while I'm in DC, I'm going to be leaving tomorrow morning, Thursday, March 3rd, and I'll be there at least until Saturday, and that will be the excuse me, arrival date of the People's Convoy. There's actually two truckers' convoys going to Washington, D.C., which is a bit confusing because I believe one got there yesterday. But they released this last week, or I'm sorry, last month, as far as their press release for the convoy. Today, they are in Indianapolis, Indiana area. They're resting for the night, as far as I know, in Indiana before they're taking off again. So I wanted to share that information as well. Today is Wednesday, March 2nd. So they actually are in Monrovia, Indiana. Tomorrow in Cambridge, Ohio, leaving from Indianapolis in the morning, departing from Cambridge, Ohio on Friday, March 4th, arriving in Hagerstown, Maryland on Friday evening, and then on Saturday, arriving in the DC Beltway on the 5th. So that's the People's Convoy. And I know a few folks that are covering that, including Kriston T. Harris of the Rundown Live. He is in Indiana right now. And again, I write for the Rundown Live based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And let me pull this up just so people are aware that this is going on this week as well in DC. This is the peoplesconvoy.org in case anyone is interested in the information. There is where I got that schedule. And if people want general information text alerts, you can text the word convoy to 313131. Convoy spelled Convoy. And my computer needs to be plugged in. So, that being said, I have gotten at least 1 or 2 messages from people who plan on going to DC this week, and they already have lodging. But if anybody wants to help support, I had a couple GoFundMes set up, but lo and behold, my funds are now paused for some reason, so I'm unable to access those. However, Buy Me a Coffee works all the same. I haven't had any problems with them whatsoever. So if anybody wants to support that, I just got a new gimbal finally. So I got a gimbal that works. If anybody wants to help, I'm charging it right now for the first time. It was my birthday this week, a few days ago, the last day of February. So if you do want to give me a great birthday present, you can help support by paying for sponsoring my gimbal purchase, my travel expenses, lodging, food, etc., or you can buy my book. And in this book, you can find out which journalist at the trial tried hitting on me. You can find out about the field trip that I took with Kriston T. Harris. And let me switch this up because this virtual background is making things difficult right now. So you can see my lame bedroom background right now. But here's the book, How to Cover the Ghislaine Maxwell Trial. The limited hangout, Addy ads, $9.99, paperback, and I just want to read these inscriptions here. This is from Peter Duke, media technology strategist and photographer. Once upon a time, journalism meant showing up and asking questions to get to the bottom of things. In our current era of fake news and web-page reading talking heads, Addy ad shows up and asks the hard questions that others are afraid to ask. This is from Charlie Robinson, #1 best-selling author. Addy is an old-school reporter in young man's clothes. When everyone is waiting by the front door, he's the only guy checking around back where the real action is. I also appreciate his balance of tenacity and fairness, a rare quality these days. When I wanted to know what was actually happening with the Maxwell trial, I didn't go to the New York Times. I went to see Addy instead. Addy's the James Brown of independent journalism, hardworking, innovative, and fearless. Addy asks the important and difficult questions other independent journalists don't, or won't ask. Roberta Glass, True Crime Report. I really like this book. It came out well in terms of the formatting. It was a lot easier to do. It has an index for my researchers in case people want to look to see what I was talking about. Les Wexner, Mike Wallace, Lawrence Visosky, the backstory, Alec Tabak, Bobby Sternheim, Steven Spielberg, just to name a few of the entries in the index. Ryan Dawson's in there. Speaking of Ryan Dawson, who I'm meeting this week, I'm sure it was a cougar. What are you referring to there, Cindy? I lost. Oh my gosh, hitting on you. I gotta get that. What are you guys talking about? Something is flying over my head right now, and I don't know what it is. But if you want to support, you can learn about intelligence connections between Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, the network, and how do I buy the book? That's a great question. Let me bring up the link here, folks. I am very proud of this book, and let me do the paperback link. It's got 2 ratings, 5 stars already. Here's the comment, and I will put it in the description box as well. So let me just update that, mostly for my YouTubers, but I think some people watch on Facebook as well, unfortunately. However, Rockfin is where I recommend all people get their video content from myself, if nowhere else. So I did post it on Rockfin as well, which is good. And looks like it didn't work on the Facebook. Oh, it did work. Okay. You said buy the book to see who was hitting on you. Buy the book. Oh, that right. I'm sure it was a cougar. You'd be surprised, guys. You'd be surprised. I know I have a certain reputation, it seems. But I don't like categorizing people. and it technically wasn't a cougar. And I don't really spell it out, to be honest with you. But buy it, and maybe you can figure it out. What other new information can you learn? Do you know what delayed disclosure is? Who is the lawyer friend? Who took a picture of me who works for a large New York media outlet? And what outlet is that? What chapter is named after a popular web geopolitical show? These are all questions that can only be answered if you buy the book. How to Cover the Ghislaine Maxwell Trial, Limited Hangout Ads. I recommend the paperback personally, but it's up to you. I believe I actually get a bigger profit margin on the ebook. So if you want to buy both, that would be outstanding. That really would. And People's Convoy, I believe Ann Vandersteel is also covering that convoy. The other one, which people have been suspicious of, I can't remember the name of it, but people were talking about it because they were asking people to register or give email or contact information, whereas the Canadian convoy kind of congealed organically, and their group was not really inquiring about people's personal information or asking for email addresses or anything like that. So because of that, there was understandably so some suspicion, and that convoy got there last night, if I'm not mistaken, which is that the American Truckers Freedom Convoy. That could be it, but the People's Convoy is the one that is I'm going to be covering. So let me see. Starting in Columbus, 3-1. So this looks like a different one. GreatAmericanPatriotProject.org. But in the 3rd, in DC on the 3rd, ordering right now. Thank you, Aricot. I appreciate you, sir. I'm going to get in there in the afternoon. I believe I'm meeting up with Ryan Dawson around 3 p.m. tomorrow in Washington, D.C. He is still working out the details with the vaccination passports and trying to explain to people that many have traveled from afar to try to attend this and be in DC this week. So that being said, please try to support me if you can. Buy me a coffee is the best because GoFundMe has frozen my funds. So I have to troubleshoot on that and catch up with my emails as well. That's another motivating factor to catch up on emails this evening. So please do support if you can. Venmo, Cash App, buy me a coffee, and you'll see me link up with Tristan T. Harris of the Rundown Live out of my home state of Wisconsin, Ryan Dawson, Reed Coverdale. I think one of the Jackman brothers are going to be there, of the Four Horsemen. Few other people as well. I'm sure there's going to be other folks I may recognize. And hopefully you're tuning in. Stay frosty. Please buy my book. It's my birthday week, so you can help me out that way, or you can help try to cover my gimbal costs, travel costs, etc. This is going to be available on rockfin.com/AddyAds, anywhere podcasts can be found. Stay frosty, and we'll see everybody next time.